All right, I tied several blanks yesterday, so you can see. And it's been a while since I've shown you my process and taking you through doing a first scraping on some new blanks. So I figured we'd do that today. But first things first, I'm gonna sharpen my knife because I always sharpen my knife before I scrape a reed. That way you're not gonna rip a corner. You still might rip a corner, but if your knife is dull, you're gonna press into the cane more to get the cane to come off, and then you're more likely to rip a corner. So I just like to sharpen my knife just to set myself up for success, rather. I like the cane to just come off like butter. I'm going through this knife sharpening a little quickly, but if you wanna see me break it down, I do have another video on that. If you just search knife sharpening on my channel. Big key to knife sharpening is just keeping even pressure. And when I say pressure, I don't mean pressing down on the stone. I just want the knife to not bob around, so I want it to be steady. And then let's set our burr. Okay, see how that feels? Oh, it feels pretty good. It actually feels very sharp. Okay, now I just like to use this Jinde honing rod because it really helps to just make the burr that much better, because this is super smooth. So it just makes those burr hairs even tighter together, so the burr, the sharp part of the knife that cuts cane off, will be just more even and consistent. Okay, so this blank's been soaking a little while. There we go. I did scrape a little bit off the tip already. And let's see here. Just giving it a look over. Okay. So I'm gonna start by just removing the bark. And I always start on the left side of the heart. You can start on the right too, but just remove the bark. I feel like oftentimes people don't take enough off when they're removing the bark. You really have to get the underbark off, that layer, kind of like a pale yellowish color. Depends on your cane really what color it is. But you have to go deep enough to get that off. Okay, other side. And the goal is to work quickly when you're getting the bark off. I'm trying to maintain the integrity of the sides of the reed and the center of the reed. I tied this on at 74, so I have some clipping to bring it back. So that's why I'm being a little ruthless, because the tip's not right here. The tip is going to be further down. But step one, get all the bark off. This knife actually feels quite nice. Feels very smooth. It just glides over this piece of cane, which is exactly what you want. When you're getting all the nicks and it's in your cane and it's hard to get those out, I mean, that's either a knife sharpening thing, or your knife might be too sharp, or your cane is just maybe not the best piece. Maybe your cane is mealy. Mealy cane is no fun. I had a piece of that last week. It's when the cane is just mushy and you can see like so many grains and fibers in the cane. I feel like that kind of cane is just a little challenging to work with and has some weak reeds. So most of the bark is off, but before I clip it open, I really want it to flex a little bit. And you can tell as I press on it, it's not got much give to it. That's because I just need to take more off. But I want to make sure kind of the back, the U area back here, the rails look nice. There we go. try to make everything symmetrical, as symmetrical as you can. You'll notice I'm just constantly checking, feeling it. Okay, I'm gonna go back up to the top. This seems like a thicker piece of cane that just needs a little more off. Me personally, I think one of the most disservicing things you can do in your reed making is to clip it too soon. Because if it's not flexing and it's a board, it's just so hard, you're gonna clip it open and you're not gonna get any vibrations at all unless you squeeze and muscle. And you know, it's no fun squeezing and muscle your crows because no one would want to play that way. You should peep and crow your reed the way you want to play it when you're performing. And I want my reeds to feel good. Okay. Notice I've just mainly been in this side of the heart area. I'm working my way down. I'm trying to make sure I don't take too much out of the center. I'm not obliterating the heart though. I'm just finding thick places. And now I'm back in the tip because this tip is pretty hefty. Always try to go over the edge, even in the blank when you're scraping in the tip. Okay, now you can tell, hopefully, when I press in this tip heart area, I'm starting to get some give, which is great. So now I'm gonna work my way down because there's no give in the back. And I don't take a ton out of my backs initially because the vibrations enter from the top of the reed. So you wanna work the vibrations in through the top of the tip and then to the heart. And the back, I think, really just provides the structure. I mean, if you don't take any out and it doesn't flex at all, then your reed's gonna be open and hard. If you take too much, you might weaken the reed a little too much. And there are so many ways you can balance a reed. Like say if you do take more out of your backs, you probably balance your reed a little differently than mine. And that's okay. We're all striving for the same result, which is a good reed that plays and functions well. But you can tell in my back, I'm just trying to say, set the boundaries of where the back of the heart is, which is right here. Hopefully you can see that. And then around the sides of the spine. So I don't want any big grooves. I do scrape a little bit here above the U to help manage the opening of the reed. I can tell this one's gonna have a good opening. It's just, it just feels like a harder piece of cane, which is not a bad thing. Okay, narrow the side of the spine on this side. Notice I don't take my knife and just dig out huge channels right here. That doesn't serve my reed making very well, my reed very well. I primarily stick to right down here to help control the opening and then just to set it and then the sides of the spine. And when I said set it, I meant set where the back ends. Okay, so now let's see what's happening. Okay, it's a little bit more. Okay, and before we clip it open, I'm just gonna one more time go up the side here because it still feels a little heavier than I'd like. And on this side. Okay. There's no sense in taking a ton of time getting the bark off and, you know, maneuvering the tip right now before it's clipped open, because we have a long way to go from 74 to 71, which is where I'd like to end up today. So I'm gonna clip it about 1 millimeter. Okay, let's take a look. Let's test the flexibility. Okay, it needs more flexibility. So I'm gonna start by thinning the sides of the tip. Oh yeah, those are hefty. Okay, then the side of the tip. Go all the way off. Sometimes you might hear the little click of your knife on the plaque there. Okay, again on the side of the tip and the heart on the other side. Just trying to get my reed to look more like a reed and have nice closure. That's another thing. After flexibility, I'm really testing. I want to build a nice closure. What I mean by that is when you press on the heart of the reed, you want the tip to close from the outside corners in, and I'll show you once we get to that part. And if the reed is uneven somewhere in the tip or maybe in the heart, then that closure will be wonky. And it'll be wonky when you play if you don't fix it and leave it that way. Okay, this reed is long, so but what I mean is I'm just pressing right here. Okay, now I have to look at it. I can't really look at it and show the camera at the same time. Okay, so you can kind of tell it's closing outside edges in, and the opening is a little small right now, but I'm okay with that because it's 73. It's pretty long. But it should crow right now, pretty loosely. Okay, let's see if we can do any more in the tip before clipping it back. Again, I'm not refining the tip right now. I know this tip, you don't want to refine it yet. I'm just seeing if there are thick places close to the end that I'm about to clip off, because if I had a big chunk right here and I clipped the reed, the tip won't vibrate anymore because the air is just going to hit that big chunk of cane and not get through into the reed. Okay, well, let's give it a crow and a clip. Oh yes. All right, going about another millimeter. Should be closer to 72 now. Let's see what it's doing. Okay, let's crow it. All right, and we're gonna do the same thing. Notice I haven't gone in any other place in the reed yet. I've already done most of the work that I'm going to do in the back before I even clipped it open. And in the heart. You could definitely wait and do that work in the back and the heart when you clip it open, but it's going to be so hard and you're not going to have a crow right away. So just know that if you do that. I like working from a crow from the beginning. It makes me feel more hopeful that it'll be a reed. Okay. This side looks better. And that happens sometimes. Just finding thick places here. Okay. Give it a crow. Okay, another little clip. I'm not gonna do a whole millimeter this time. I'm gonna do like a half. And let's see where we're at. Let's actually measure. Okay, I'm at 71 and a half almost, just shy of it. Okay, peeping a crow. It's got good suction, a good seal. Very important when you tie blanks to make sure your reed seals. Okay, so you guys check this out. It closes from the outside edges in, which is what we want. It has nice closure in the tip. And let's take a look here. This is what it's looking like. I haven't defined any lines or anything. I'm just creating a nice slope. And you can look down the reed this way too to really see that slope. You just want it to be nice and blended. That's how you encourage vibrations to come in. And then we're gonna go in and maybe thin a little bit more. The tip is getting pretty close, but we do have to clip it a little bit more before we get to 71. And 71 is kind of my goal for the first day of scraping. I don't generally clip it all the way back to 70 on the first day because the reed tends to open up a bit too much. And sometimes it can be a little unmanageable and then it's hard to get it to close back down. Okay, give it a crow. Good. Okay, I like that. Okay, I am going to clip it just a hair more. And then it's time to start working into the heart just a tad. Because right now the tip is really vibrant. But actually, let's balance that out first. I'm going to draw my tip line. And I'm going to start that at 66. So let's just see if it's right there. You can use a pencil for this. I eyeball it sometimes and then double check myself. But this looks about right. Okay, hopefully you guys can see that okay. So I score a little line. I'm being very careful because my knife is sharp. I don't want to take too much. Okay. You're just taking a very thin layer of what's in front to create a straight line. And that's just going to help when you balance your reed. It's going to really help the vibrations. They come in, they hit this little bitty line, which I'm hesitant to call it a wall. It's like barely a wall. It's like you're climbing up a little, there's like a little ramp. If you're like on a skateboard or something that you just have to hop over. But it's so smooth. I mean, look at that. I haven't gotten rid of the cane in front of the line at all. It just helps me to create some balance in the reed. And when we crow it after this, you'll hear the difference that made. Okay, so we want to be symmetrical as possible on the other side. And people ask me this a lot. How steep is my V that I'm making right now? I don't tend to measure, but my angle of my V, and I did a video on this too, it's generally about 1 millimeter from the side to the tip. Okay. Redraw that one a little bit. The good news is this line is movable. You can always bring it back, but you really can't bring it up because you've already removed that cane. You can make a secondary line above it, but you cannot regain the cane that you took away. So that's why I always start mine at 66 and then I bring it back a little bit if I need to. Okay. Let's take a look here. The throat of the reed feels a little open to me, so I'm going to squeeze just above the thread. So I'm not squeezing the staple, I'm squeezing literally the back of the reed. Okay, I can tell the tip is vibrating a little bit more than the rest of the reed. but can definitely clip it again. But I want to see where it's at right at this stage. It might sound a little raucous because the tip is a little long. But let's just check. Actually, this reed kind of surprises me. It plays, camera's out of focus a little bit. There we go. It plays nicely. I am gonna let it sit here, and tomorrow I will rework the tip a little bit and clip it back, because I do feel it will need a little clip, because if I were to play on it now, which I absolutely could, since it's 71 and this reed, now that I squished it, is manageable in the tip, I don't want to keep playing it. I feel like it'll just keep closing down. Sometimes reeds will do that, and if you do leave them longer and they're closing down, then it's going to be too small and it won't last very long. So doing reeds, letting it dry in stages is best for the longevity of the reed. So tomorrow we will look at this again and see where we're at. Probably give it a clip and rework the tip, and then we should hopefully have a reed. All right, any questions? You can leave them down below. And if you are wanting help with your reeds, I do have some different options that I'll post links to in the comments. I have a beginner's course if you've never done this before, and then I also have a group reed making membership. So any questions, let me know, and I hope you have a great week with your reeds. Bye.